Hey guys, welcome to your channel Digital Empaths, and I'm your host Sushant Ichwani. So, guys, I'm very excited today because today is the fifth and the last episode of this series, which is how to improve the adoption of your dashboards and scorecards. And in our today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about how to proactively augment your existing storyline because that's very important. Just like we get our automobile service at regular intervals, the same way our dashboards and scorecards also have to be overhauled, also have to be maintained and augmented at regular intervals. The best interval is, I would say, quarterly, okay, because you don't want to make radical changes every other month or every other week because that also creates confusion. So, the proactive augmentation is a very interesting aspect of this whole dashboard evolution process. And what do we do in this particular process is that every quarter we have a meeting with the different stakeholders, okay, who are using your dashboards and scorecards, which you guys have built as a part of your BI and analytics team. And we try to understand that how relevant these dashboards or this current storyline is in the current context. Are they using it religiously every week? Are they still finding it relevant? Or sometimes they find it relevant, but it's not enough to action on, okay? Because there's a difference between relevancy and actionability. So relevancy talks in terms of the persona of that person, whether the dashboard storyline is talking to the person persona. What does it mean? Its role, its responsibilities, the KPIs he or she is accountable for. But when it comes to actionability, it talks about the decision making process. It talks about, based on the role that he plays, what kind of actions he is bound to take by consuming the storyline that you have published for him. So it's very important to keep on checking on a quarterly basis whether the incumbent storyline is still doing the justice or it needs overhauling. And when we talk about overhauling, there's a very interesting concept I want to share with you, which I call it as insights bundles. Okay. See, as a human being, we love bundles. Whether it's we are buying any product from a shopping mall, whether we are buying online, we all love packages. We all love discounts. We all love things which are doing like a mix and match. So the same philosophy applies to our insights world because every medium of consumption, whether you take a dashboard, whether you take a chatbot or a voice or maybe an email or a PPT, everyone has a certain purpose, okay? And no medium of consumption can override or replace the other one. But if you combine them together, it forms a very comprehensive story. So if you are building a dashboard and the dashboard is already live and it's already been very well adopted, and maybe after 6 months or 9 months you realize that the adoption is gradually going down, okay? People are finding it relevant, but they're not finding it actionable or motivating enough so that they can take some really tangible actions against that. So in those cases, what you can do is you have two options. Either you augment the current storyline by bringing the aspects of anomalies, which is either both the point and contextual anomalies. You can also bring the causal insights. But the best way to articulate the causal insights in simple English narratives, okay? There are a lot of natural language generation platforms are there, even at like your Narrative Sciences, your Automated Insights, and your ARIA. Some of these natural language generation platforms, they actually further augment your dashboard storyline with simple English narratives, okay? So that those insights which are not visible on your dashboard, you can make them apparent by in the form of like an iframes or a pop-ups. And when people click on the anomalies in the chart, similarly a pop-up will open and explain that why that anomaly happened, okay? What were the contributing factors behind it, okay? Similarly, you can also augment your dashboards and storylines with some more forward-looking predictions, okay? You can also bring some prescriptive recommendations because a lot of times people want recommendations to be visible in the dashboards and scorecards. But if you feel, you know what, by bringing everything there is going to make the dashboard and storyline too bloated and it will not be very widely acceptable, it's only catering to a certain persona, then in those cases, what you can do is the second approach is building the bundles. What does that mean is that let your current dashboard the way it is right now. If you can bring some basic anomalies or causality aspect into that, that's fantastic. But for other insights where it requires a lot of deep dive diagnostic, you can use mediums like newsletters. Okay, maybe you can publish like a weekly or fortnightly newsletter to further augment your existing storyline that you're communicating in a dashboard. You can also use the concept of alerts, okay, more like an early warning signal, some kind of alert mechanism you can build, and you can push those alerts through your SMS or WhatsApp mediums. And when you're triggering those alerts, always mention the hyperlink of your dashboards and scorecards so that people can click on that and get a better context by going over there. Okay? You can also bundle up your dashboards with some augmented PowerPoint presentation. Okay? A simple PowerPoint presentation is going to be a mix of your charts as well as some narratives which your analyst has included in it. And the concept of augmented presentation is that you are automatically translating your existing dashboards which you're consuming in Tableau, Power BI or Qlik, and translating them in PowerPoint presentation. And also you're using the power of natural language generation to generate those simple English narratives. Okay, so all those aspects are possible today. Okay, because the technology is advanced. AI has done phenomenal job in the last 3 to 4 years in making the insights consumption much easier. So if you have not tried these things out, I would highly urge to take a subscription of different kinds of augmented platforms in the market. There are many players are there. You have ThoughtSpot, you have DataRobot, you have Course 5 Discovery, you have Outlier, you have AnswerRocket. There are plenty of augmented analytics platforms who are bringing the power of automation, machine learning, AI, natural language generation, and various other value-added features to make the stickiness, to bring stickiness in your dashboards and also improve the adoption across the organization. Because remember that the current adoption rate for most of the dashboards and scorecards across any industry you go to is less than 35 to 37%. And that's a very low number. And especially when you've invested heavily in building a data infrastructure on the cloud, whether it's on Azure or AWS, you are paying a decent subscription fees for your BI platforms. And if at the end of the day, if the adoption is not there, it defeats the whole purpose. So try to bring different elements together by building these kind of an insights bundles, okay? Use the power of SMS and WhatsApp, use the power of email, use the power of augmented presentations, use the power of portals, okay? And even if you want the insights to be published in the collaborative platforms like Slack or Teams, that's fantastic because these days, during the COVID-19 situation, we all are so much hooked up to platforms like Slack and Teams almost every day. So it would be great to request for those insights through those platforms. So instead of going to different screens or different tools, if I can consume those insights within those same collaborative platforms and do some kind of a collaborative storytelling with my peers, that's fantastic. I don't need to switch the screens. And that's what people likes. No one wants to go to 10, 11 different types of tools and contact the analyst to stitch up a story. People want the insights to go to them. It's like on-demand insights, okay? Just like we watch movies on Netflix, on Amazon Prime. Similarly, the insights world has also evolved. People love the on-demand concept that whenever they need it, it should be available to them. And availability is also dependent on multiple factors, okay? We have discussed on this in our previous episodes. It also depends on where you are exactly extracting the insights from. Are you extracting it from some kind of a data models, your cubes, you're directly connecting with your data lakes on the cloud, or you're still leveraging your data marts, okay? So depending on the different types of data sources, your the availability of insights is highly dependent on that, as well as how accurate and how refreshed your insights are. Because if your source data is not getting refreshed at regular intervals, your insight would also be dated, what you consume on the application layer. So At the end, what I would say is that in the last 4 episodes, we have discussed on different ways to improve the adoption. We have also discussed on what are the common challenges, how to collect the feedback from the business users, and what I would like to suggest is that if you have not tried different mediums of consumption, if you're still restricting yourself to the dashboards that you're consuming through the self-service BI platforms, I would highly urge to go back to your BI and analytics team and ask them that how can we enable more and more consumption mediums, okay? Mobile app is doing a fantastic job, especially in the executive layer. People who are always on the move, who don't have time, they want to consume more curated and personalized insights with more forward-looking, more prescriptive recommendations. Apps do fantastic job over there. Okay, if you're looking for simple facts, okay, whatever happened in the past, or looking for some kind of a causality, some kind of an anomalies, what you can do is you can also explore chatbots and voice bots. They also do a fantastic job. However, they require a lot of training, okay? Because most of these AI tools, whether you build using any kind of a Google Dialogflow, or you're using Amazon, or you're using Cortana, whichever NLP platform you're using it, okay? Remember that it requires a very extensive training data set, okay? Because most of these out-of-the-box platforms have been trained on publicly available data. And if you try to bring them in your organization and try to contextualize them, you need a pretty good training data set to train it, okay? You might have to start with maybe some canned questions to start with, just to spark the interest among the business users. But as you see the adoption is going high, you can start building more and more training data set, okay? So that the different variations of questions can be understood by these chat and voice bots. But remember one thing, they also have a certain purpose, okay? They cannot answer every possible question, because remember, the chat, the voice, and the search, these are the three consumption mediums where people usually expect low latency environment, okay? Responses should be in less than 3 to 4 seconds. So you don't have much room to ask for a lot of why and how related questions, because those are the questions which challenges the bot to go and find answers to some regression-based model that you have built, or some kind of a Bayesian model that you have built. But you cannot call those models in real time, translate their output into simple English, and publish it at the application layer in like a Dialogflow in less than 3 seconds. That's practically not possible. So these are the consumption medium which are more applicable for those kind of insights which are already pre-computed, okay? Which you have stored in some kind of an abstraction layer that you can query it in real time, okay? Remember, every consumption medium has a certain boundary, and we need to respect those boundaries. We cannot expect every consumption medium to behave the same way like your other consumption medium. That's practically not possible in today's world, because we're dealing with such a high volume of data, whether you're dealing with supply chain data or a clickstream data or maybe sales data. The volume is so much, the amount of compute you need to do that mining behind the scene is also growing very rapidly these days. So be cognizant about what are the entry points for any consumption medium, what are the exit points, what are those constraints, and respect that. And do not try to oversell to the business users that this consumption medium is going to do wonders, okay? Because in real life, wonders do not happen every other moment or every other day. It takes time. So at the end, if you have any questions, any comments on this particular episode, and if you haven't watched the last 4 episodes, I would highly urge you go and watch it. And I'm always ready to take your constructive feedback. And if you have any suggestions for a new topic, you can go to our channel. You can share it in the comment section below this video, and I'll be more than happy to take care of that. Okay? So take care, stay safe, stay connected. Hasta pronto.